Hello, everyone. We are back. We are so excited today. I told you I was bringing some amazing guests, and this guest has been on the show before. She dropped some gems about being a mom for her son, and she's an author, and she is just an amazing woman. Y'all know how I get hype about my people that I know personally, and so this is my sister. We've been rocking and rolling for I don't know what 4 or 5 years now. From day one, she has supported, advocate for me. She has been to all our events. She was one of our honorees at our award banquet. She is doing some amazing things. And so today I want to introduce to you, for those of you who may not know her, but Miss Chanté Douglas, the author of Echoboy and ABC Girl. Hey, Chanté.
Hey, Levi, how you been?
I'm good, good, busy, but always good.
Great, that's great.
How you been? What's
I've
been
been,
up? It's been a while since you've been on here.
I know. I think it's been like what, 3 years since the
Three
last
years.
time?
This
Yeah.
this year make 3 years. I think we launched September 2020, and you was our second guest, and ironically, you're our second guest here. Like that for two slot. But yeah, but we definitely. I mean, me and you been working throughout the whole time.
Right.
I know when the last time you was on the show, we talked about Echo Boy and ABC Girl, and what other projects you've been working on since then, sis?
I've been busy. So since that book, I put out two more books. Are You Okay? A story by Echo Boy. So it was a solo book just for Echo Boy. I love that book so much. I've gotten a chance to read that book to a couple of preschool classrooms, some virtual story time. Got a lot of great feedback from parents, just how their kids are able to express their feelings. And that was really just the whole point of writing that book, to allow kids a safe space to talk about their feelings. And that was really coming out of the pandemic, and we kind of lost focus on how much of an impact having our kids home virtual for a whole school year really, changed their lives. I think we got caught up so much as adults trying to maneuver through a pandemic that we really didn't realize how much it played an impact on our kids, no matter what age they're at that time. After that, I created a coloring book, more of an interactive coloring book, and it's called The Wonderful World of ABC. So that was specifically to highlight my girl, ABC girl, and she takes you through the ABCs and teaches you about autism, her best friend Echo Boy, things that she loves, her dreams, some positive affirmations for our kids, because I really believe in giving our kids positive affirmations. Their brains are like sponges. So if we plant the seeds of positivity, they can manifest that. There's so much negativity in the world. We need a lot of more positive vibes that we need to put into our kids. And now, kind of took a break after the coloring book because I went back and started writing, and wrote another mini book for Echo Boy, and this one is going to be coming out this year, hopefully in March. Fingers crossed. The title is going to be called "I Miss You, Daddy." That one is specifically for kids who have had a parent that has been incarcerated. More specifically, dads who have been incarcerated. And I wrote this story from my son Levi, who is Echo Boy, from his point of view of, how he was feeling and what he was going through when he couldn't see his dad while his dad was locked up for about 10 months. And I just thought it was important. I didn't see enough books out there that represented that demographic of children who have to process those feelings of having a parent that is in prison and not having those normal interactions that they see their peers have with their parents. So I'm really excited to have everyone read that book. It's going to be a tearjerker, just letting y'all know right now. I really didn't want to hold back on the emotions. Even if you can't relate to having a parent that's been locked up, you can empathize with children who have parents who, they can't see on a everyday basis.
That's great. That's a perfect topic because, like you said, you don't see too many children's books about that. And being a child whose parent was incarcerated, that book probably would have helped me deal with a lot of my feelings and emotions that I was going on at that time. Because I know for me, I was like angry. I was I actually wrote a letter to my dad. Me and him joke about this now, but I wrote a letter to him. I was like, I never want to speak to you again. I'm cool, you cool, live your life, do what you gotta do behind bars. I was like in the 8th grade when I wrote him that letter.
Okay.
And then me and my dad, he always called me like his angel. So for me to write that, like I was really mad at him.
Right.
And then when he came home, he came out on an early release, and I ran to him like that man was like gave him a hug and everything.
Right. That's your
It was
dad.
a lot of emotions that I was going on. Yes, I miss my dad, but I was mad at the circumstances that put him in there, and so I just love the fact that you wrote that. And then I will say, was it like a healing process for you and Levi when you was doing the children's book? And does he understand exactly like the details for the book?
I haven't gone over that with him yet, but I did have a discussion with his dad that I was putting this book out so he wouldn't be blindsided if he happened to see it pop up on social media. And I didn't give him a heads up. So out of respect, I did tell him, actually I told him before I even decided to put it into book form, I had wrote it as a poem. And I read it to him. This was like right after he had, like a couple months after he had got out of prison. And yeah, he was like, he didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I was going to do it regardless. It was just like, I'm just letting you know, I'm not asking for permission. I'm just letting you know that this book is going to be made and it's going to be put out into the world. Because I don't want kids to feel ashamed of the circumstances that they had no control over. You get what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
it it was healing. Like every book that I do write, writing is therapeutic for me anyway. And yeah, I really felt like when I was writing that poem, I I wanted to like be the vessel for Levi's voice, because even
mm-hmm.
though he's he's 10 now, a lot of his speech is still delayed a little bit, so he can't always convey what's going on in his head. He tries every day, and he's making progress with his speech, but I felt like I was just in the zone when I was writing, and when I went back and I read it, I was like, man, because I kind of like zoned out when I was writing it. And then when I sent it to Reggie, once I expanded it enough so that it can become a book. So when I sent it
Mm-hmm.
to Reggie, and he emailed me back and he was like, "You got me crying over here, Chanté." Like, and I'm like, well, that's a good thing, because that means I'm tapping into your heart, your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and getting you to feel something that maybe even if you haven't experienced it, that's really my takeaway every time that I write a project. There's got to be some type of feelings that I want you to feel after you're done reading one of my books.
Wow. I can't wait till it come out. You said hopefully in March. So y'all be on the lookout for March
Yes.
2023.
Yes.
For I Miss You Daddy. You've been, like I said, me and you've been like in like the trenches from the pandemic up until now, working, being a mom, um, and then also pushing. well, not pushing, but writing. I was about to say pushing the pen, but and also out in the community and you know, being a voice for, you know, our children. I just want to piggyback just a little bit because I know you've been a prior guest on Advocate for Me, but can you explain Levi's diagnosis for any new listeners that we may have? And then I'll go into my next question.
Okay, so Levi, his diagnosis is autism spectrum disorder. He also has a speech disorder called echolalia, which is kind of wild because from the first time he was actually diagnosed with echolalia, it's kind of evolved over the years. So it started off of really just everything he hears, he was repeating. And then I started noticing he was scripting. And if anybody who doesn't know what scripting means, like a lot of kids on the spectrum do this, is if they watch, you know, a certain TV show or a conversation that they may hear, which plays into echolalia, they'll script it word for word, even in the inflection of how you say it, and it gets weaved into their conversation skills, if that makes any sense. I hope I'm explaining that right. But he would do that a lot, and it would be like appropriate. Like it wouldn't be like some random response. Like it would be something like, you know, you ask him a question and then you get a response, but then you'd be like, I know I heard that from like a show or something that he was watching. But for some reason he knew like to place that in that particular part of the conversation, and it just flowed. And then like over time, like it almost felt like, and this is why he's called Echo Boy, is because the echolalia really helped build his conversation and speech skills, his verbal skills, excuse me, over time. So yeah, that's my guy. I love him to death.
Yeah. And he when he was with me that weekend when you went away, he was I forgot what he was watching, but he definitely did that. And I was looking, I was like, didn't they just say that on the TV? And I
Mm-hmm.
was
Yep.
like, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, but like you said, he puts it right into the conversation where it's appropriate. And that's what I was like, as I asked him, I can't remember what I asked him, and he responded back, and I'm like, wait, and like you said, in my mind, I'm like, I just heard that from some,
Right.
and then I looked at the TV, and he kept rewinding it to that one particular part, and I was like, oh, that's where I heard it from. I was like, all right. And then, but he answered me with the script.
Right.
And he
Yep.
was fine with, what was going on. So,
Yep.
yes. So my next question is like, what have you been working on as far as being a mom and an advocate, and speaking up for the autism community?
Yeah, I've been busy. I'm on a subcommittee with the Department of Health, their mother, child, and family special health care needs. So I'm in there a subcommittee for education and medical medical needs. More so on the education side because that's my stronger suit. Only because I feel like um Levi doesn't have too many medical issues outside of, you know, asthma, seasonal allergies. So I felt like the educational side, because I have been on that side of the fence of, you know, really going hard for him since kindergarten and advocating for him, and even suing the school district and getting a lawyer, going through all that, you know, I just felt like that was my stronger suit to really help bridge the gaps of what's going on in the Philly school district. Because if you live here, you already know it's an uphill battle with a lot of things in the school district, and especially if your child is in the special education system. Unfortunately, and people, you know, don't want to admit this, but it costs more money to educate our special education kids because all of them need to be accommodated for their specific needs. Like not every kid is the same. And then they have to follow an IEP, which is a legal document that pretty much outlines what their needs are, what the goals that they need to meet, and hours of service that they're entitled to. It's a lot of things that, if you don't know as a parent, and you're not really looking into it, they'll take advantage of that and not give what's entitled to your child. And that's like my big passion right now, is to also not just advocate for our kids, but help educate the parents, because let's be real, like advocating is a selfless thing to do, right? And it's something that fills my cup every day. But also I feel like parents need to be very proactive, because we can only do so much and be at certain places at certain times as advocates, right? But also I feel like as an advocate we need to help other parents become advocates for their kids. Like I don't mind going out there and advocating for mine, and you know, kids that look like my son, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't mind that at all, but I also feel like parents also need to take the reins in controlling the narrative of what's going on with their child's education. Like do not just let it fall in the laps of the teachers, the IEP team, the school district, the behavior support team, because at the end of the day, what parents don't even realize is that you hold the power, because you know your child more than anybody else, regardless of their degrees, their years of experience in the school district, all the special education jargon that they might throw at you, the forms that you got to sign. At the end of the day, you control the narrative when it comes to your child. And that's kind of like where I'm at with it, as far as with the subcommittee. We'll meet like once a month. And the last meeting that we had, we talked about how do we get parents more involved, as far as the biggest thing, transitioning from early intervention into the school district. And that's the most stressful time, because there's really no blueprint, as far as especially if you don't know anybody and who to talk to. Like I was fortunate that I was at a parent support group, and they had people that would come in and give you like a list, like a checklist. All right, first do this, then do that. Make sure you have, you know, all of your paperwork together, such as like the birth certificate and you know the vaccination shots and all that stuff, so that when you go to register at your, you know, neighborhood school and everything else. But everyone doesn't know that. That was the thing we kept bringing up, was like it's almost like a secret society when you think about it, because if if before your kid is even diagnosed, prime example, before Levi had his official diagnosis, I was just blessed to have the right people around me at the right time to kind of navigate it. But I kind of felt bad for a lot of parents who are kind of just out here wading in shark water, you know what I'm saying, trying to get a lifeline. And it's like, why is it like you don't know any of this until your kid is officially diagnosed, and then you kind of still trying to struggle to find like, who do I need to talk to? It's kind of like, well, this person knows this person who knows that person, and let me get that contact. It's like, why can't I just go to a website and be like, click on that, boom, this is what you got to do. You know, if you're in this part of the city, if you're in west, if you're in southwest, if you're in north, if you're in Allen, if you're in Logan, if you're in the northeast, if you're in Chestnut Hill, Mount Airy, Germans, you know what I'm saying? Because then the other thing is, different sections of the city have different services. Like there's not a one thing that services the entire city, because it's a big city. Like Spin only services the northeast area of the city, like as far from the greater northeast all the way down to like Mayfair and Frankfurt. Then there's another agency that kind of services going beyond that area. And then West Philly is a whole different entity, and South and Southwest is a different, you know what I'm saying? So it's really a lot, and it can be extremely overwhelming in the beginning. And I used to get so tired of hearing like other parents who had kids that were older, and you know, I got a toddler and he's nonverbal, and I'm not understanding like what's setting him off with, you know, not understanding what his social cues are, or when he's had enough, you know, being at an event. Like it was like trial by fire. Honestly, it was like the Hunger Games. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the best way. And I'm being completely honest. And I know like
Uh-huh.
some parents are really going to crack up when I say that, but it's really like the Hunger Games. It's survival of the
It's
fittest out
survival of
here.
the fittest. Those that speak the loudest get the services. Those that
Right.
speak the loudest
It's
get the resources.
it's it's really Hunger Games out here as far as right is getting the services, understanding your child so you can be their voice when they can't speak up for themselves. I used to hate it when I used to see like the parents who had, it felt like they were established, they were in a rhythm and a routine with their kids, and I'm all over the place. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just felt like I'm just in quicksand all the time. And I'm like, I don't even want to hear this right now. Like, y'all trying to make it seem like this is Disneyland right now. It's not. This is Jurassic Park. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm in Jurassic Park right now with the Velociraptor right now. And y'all over here, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like all seriousness though, but like, your stress level, you're not trying to hear like, oh, it's going to get better. Cause I'm not looking at 5 years out. I'm looking at, can we just
At
get
the
through the day?
moment.
Right. Can we just go to Sesame Place without a meltdown? Can we just do that? Like y'all talking about like, yeah, when he's 15, 16, like, ma'am, I have a 3-year-old about to be a 4-year-old right now that's banging his head when he, and throwing things and all this. Like, I look back and I crack up because that's really how I felt. And now I got a 10-year-old, and just the journey we've been on from the time he was 3 up until now. And how proud I am of my son, because I give him all the credit. Like, people always want to tell me like, you're such a great mom and everything else. I said, all I am is just the cheerleader on the sideline. He's in the game. He's the one
Yeah.
that is pushing through, wanting to be his best self. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just the support system. That's it, And unfortunately, a lot of kids don't have that, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that's that's the best analogy I can give it with trying to maneuver with services in the beginning. It's rough.
Yeah, it definitely is. And like you said, you're like searching. I'm glad you had like a support system to help you out in the beginning, because some parents, like you said, they don't have that. And so they gotta go from, getting a diagnosis, processing the fact that they have a diagnosis for their child, and then now moving into like, what do I do next? Do I just sit and wait? Do I listen to the people that's at the table when they're, offering these services and resources? And you got to speak up. Me and another guest were just talking about that. Like, you know your child better than anybody else,
Right.
even though they may be in the school system for whatever many hours out of the day. You know your child. And granted, some kids may have behaviors that they exhibit at home that they don't exhibit at school, and vice versa. But at the end of the day, you know what's best for your child. And if everyone can come into agreement at the table, that's the best IEP meeting you can have. And the parents are the most important part of that meeting, because that's your child. Like,
Right.
you want what's best for them. Like I was sharing with the other guest, Jamila, I was just like, being at that table, um, when my son was younger, I was listening to him, but most of the stuff was going over my head. And I think that's what put me in more of an advocate role,
Right.
and like speaking up for him, because I was just like, just like the lingo that they was using, the verbiage and the acronyms, and I'm like, well, what does that mean?
Right.
And I started asking questions, and we shared on the other podcast with Jamila, like, if you're a parent that's quiet and just goes with everything that they're saying at the table, you're not getting an opportunity to put in your opinion and your feedback about your child. And so you're actually signing a legal document that's saying like, oh, okay, I agree with them. But
Right.
make sure you agree with them before you sign it.
Exactly.
And make sure that it's the best for your child.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I will like Chante be out here like, and I love the fact that you're collaborating and you're sharing your journey with you and Levi and your experience through the children's books, through going to meetings, through being in different workshops and conferences. You've done a couple of them for Advocate for Me, and just sharing your story. I know we do surveys at the end of our workshops, and a lot of the parents was like, I can relate to what she was saying. I agree with with how she felt. I felt the same way when I got my son's diagnosis. So just being able to share the resources and the information that was given to you from your support system, and now you're sharing it with somebody else. I definitely commend you on that, because some families, they don't do that. They just, like you said,
Right.
they in Disneyland because somebody done gave them the resources for their kid, and they're not sharing it. And so the fact that you're going out and sharing it with the Philadelphia community and beyond, we'll talk about that in a minute. But just like I just my hands is clapping and cheering you on. You know how I am. I go in your DMs, text message, and be like, "Go, sis! I'm so happy for you." So continue doing what you're doing for you and Levi, and the community. Like, I know me and you talked briefly, so you want to share what you about to go outside of Philly. I'm so excited for you. All right, but yeah, you want to share?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited. So Mary is the one that she's in charge of all the subcommittees that and the beautiful thing is it's all parents that are part of these subcommittees. So it's not like, just people who went to school for special education or social work or whatever, and not knocking people who go to school for those specific fields, right? But it just adds more of a level of care that you're getting a different lens from a parent that's putting input into what they've experienced to help other parents. So
Mhm.
she has sent an email out to all of us that they're going to be traveling to New Orleans for a conference. And don't get me started on the acronym because I'm a mess it up. So I'm not even gonna. But it's basically a conference for special healthcare needs. So I will be traveling with the Department of Health, Philly Department of Health's division of mom, child, and family special healthcare needs. So we will be there from May 5th to the 9th, and it's going to be different agencies or different healthcare departments, whatever their the roles that they play in the special healthcare medical field, will be at that conference. And I'm just super excited because get to learn from what other states are doing and how they're going about making sure that families who have loved ones with um, different healthcare needs that may go above and beyond the realm of quote unquote the standard healthcare needs, how are they being assisted, how are they, how's it being covered through their insurance, the experience of even as simple as going to the doctors. How are the doctors' offices accommodating these patients? Are they being treated fairly? And what can, I'm just excited of what we can learn to bring back to Philly to help our families, because there's so many and I've I'm always on a Zoom call for some reason, popping into um a webinar or something, and there's so many issues going on right now in Philly outside of the violence, which is bad enough, but there's so many other issues that is affecting the neurodivergent community, um that really needs to be addressed, and it needs to be a priority. But unfortunately, if you don't have firsthand experience in it, it's not a priority. And I know that's probably really harsh to say that, but that's how a lot of people look at it. Like, if I don't have a family member or a spouse that is directly linked to the problems of the neurodivergent community, why do I need to make that a priority? And I'm speaking directly to the politicians and the people that run what is supposed to be ran in the city. You get what I'm saying? So I just
Mhm.
think like sometimes if you see a need, fill a need, you know, and you can't find a way, make a way. Those are those two biggest things that's kind of like been my mantra for since the pandemic. And really just since, you know, I started advocating for Levi. Like if you don't, you know, you can't find a way, you know, make a way. And sometimes it just takes a little bit more effort and resilience and patience to get the results that you want, because nothing is going to be handed to you, even when it comes to getting what you feel like your child is entitled to. And I feel like this trip is just going to be everything. It's going to be my first time going to New Orleans, so I'm excited about that. But I'm always excited about networking with other people who are just as passionate and driven to find find a way to push the needle in um helping our families that really need it the most.
Awesome, awesome. Well, congratulations on that. Um, and I love the fact that you said that when you go, you're going to bring back that information for Philly. And I know, like, you're going to be out in the trenches, like, talking to politicians and talking to parents and teachers and administration about what needs to be done for our kids here in Philadelphia. So I'm excited for you. And I'm going to just say the best is yet to come because God has been opening up many doors for us.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, so he taking us to other states and other countries. And,
Yeah, it's a
um,
blessing.
and he's definitely like he's using us as a vessel so that we can advocate for our children. And normally, I know you were saying before, like parents got to speak up. And when they're in more numbers, people listen more. Um, because that's how a lot of I teach a special education class, and then I'm also at Lincoln University for my master's in special education. And so it's been a minute since I've been in the classroom. So a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, I'm like, oh, like I know, like I refer families to certain agencies. I talk to them about different things. Even when I'm teaching my own special education class with Education Institute for Early Intervention, um, I'm referring to different laws and different things that occurred that led up to like an IEP and how you have to accommodate my child in the classroom. And so those things, a lot of those laws and concepts that we have to do, like the timeline, like you have to have the paperwork to the parent within a 10-day time frame, or the IEP has to be completed within a 45-day time frame. That's because parents spoke up. Like you had some parents who didn't get an IEP for a whole year.
Right.
And that's why now you have to have an annual meeting. You had parents who wasn't getting them for multiple years and not knowing what was going on in the classrooms. And because they spoke up and, they got attorneys and lawyers and, they spoke to other people of how they went all the way to, to the court system and Supreme Court, and because the things that they were seeing was not fair for their children. And so when you speak up, people listen. They may not respond to it at that moment, but if you keep speaking up and keep talking and keep forcing the issue of things that you want to that you want seen for your children, then they'll start moving, especially if it's affecting, like, a lot of the politicians, not to, put y'all out there, but when it's time for reelection, that's when y'all listen the most. So,
Right.
um, and our families matter just as much as anybody else's family out here. And so when it comes to special education, yeah, we definitely speaking up. We're changing the norm. We have a couple of friends who have started organizations because they felt like their child needed it and we couldn't find it anywhere. And so we're making known that these things are needed in our areas. Whether you're in Philadelphia or in a different state, if you feel like there's something that needs to be done, that would benefit the children, start that nonprofit, or start that for profit, or whatever it may be. Start the book club, start the hangouts and clubs and organizations for your children, and then they'll see that is possible, and
Right.
then they'll start feeding into your organization so that you can help more children. So if you have like that burning desire to do something for your child, and you think other children would benefit from it, then definitely do it. Chante, it's always a pleasure having you on the podcast, because me and we be on here talking
I
like
know.
if you want to share with the audience, you know how I always end, share one thing that you want them to know, and then how they can follow you on social media.
Well, I wanted to read something that I should have read to you at the award ceremony, but you had me boohooing crying, and I could not. I was looking at my phone and I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get this out. And it was just too emotional that day. So I'm going to read it to you now. So this
Okay.
this would have been the acceptance speech at the award ceremony, but you as soon as you started talking, and everyone at my table was like, she's crying already. I'm like, I can't help it. But I'm gonna read it to you. So first, I would like to say that with this award that acknowledges service to the community, I have to thank those who have helped me along the way. First, thank you to Levi McMillan for all the amazing things you do for our kids in the special needs community. Thank you for this incredible honor. I am truly humbled and grateful. Thank you to all of the advocates, caregivers, parents, and activists who have shown all of us the way in being an ally and advocate for those who get overlooked. I want to dedicate this award to the entire Black and Brown neurodivergent community. You are blazing the trail for my son and other kids like him. I stand here remembering how the beginning of this journey for my son was, and how I am beyond grateful for every single person who stood by us both, never looked at Levi any different because of his diagnosis, made sure I was okay emotionally and mentally. Because of the love I have received and continue to receive, I can only pay it forward and show my love and support to whoever may need it. Last but definitely not least, this award wouldn't be possible without the most important person in my life. Levi Fahim Douglas, you have completely changed my life. You are an extraordinary young man, and you make me so proud every single day. I hope with this award, I have made you proud of me as well. I love you 3,000. But Levi, thank you so much for just being such a pillar in our community.
Child, you got me over here crying. I'm glad you ain't read it that night, because I probably wouldn't have been able to finish the award ceremony. Oh, you are so welcome, Chante. Like I said, from day one when we met each other in Chili's, with a mutual friend, Jamila, we you asked me questions at the table. We talked afterwards, like,
Right.
and everything that I poured into you, like I said, you take it, you implemented it for your son, and then you went and shared it with others. And so, man, you gonna be rocking and rolling, and we gonna be in wheelchairs and old and canes, and
Yeah, right.
watching our sons, and my daughter, and just living life,
Right.
and being grateful for this experience. I know some people, it's rough. I mean, I'm not gonna make it, sound like it's easy, but I mean, we make it look easy. That's what a lot of people tell me. They be like, "Oh, you make it look easy," but trust me, behind the scenes, I'm crying and screaming and not sleeping, and you know, um, just because somebody asked me the other day, like, "When do you sleep?" And I'm like, really? I don't think I do. Like, I take little
Right.
cat naps breaks and quick naps here and there, because even when I'm supposed to be asleep within that 6 to 8 hours, I'm up or I'm dreaming about something that I actually want to implement for the community. So, and then
Right.
I'm like jumping up and writing it down so I don't forget it. So, God definitely has blessed us with our beautiful children. And not only that, he blessed us with our purpose, because without our kids, we probably wouldn't be doing children's books and advocating and doing
Absolutely.
all these beautiful things. So God had already lined that up for us to do what we're doing here in Philadelphia. And so the guy was waiting on us to say yes. And once we said yes, that's why he's opening up all these doors. He's allowing us to share through children's books, and he's allowing us to go to different states and countries and share our experience, because we're not the only ones. And although you might feel like you're the only one going through it,
Right.
definitely not. And that's what this podcast is about, like sharing our journeys and sharing the resources, and building you up as an advocate so that you can go out and do what you need to do for your families. So thank you for that. Like I had to catch myself. I'm about to cry. Um, but thank you for sharing that. Yeah, she definitely was crying, y'all. She was like, "Levon, you made me cry." I was like, "I'm sorry." But she was definitely one. She was, and it's funny because she is on the board for the organization, well, for Jordan Allen Smith Foundation, which is my son's nonprofit. And so his foundation and Advocate for Me, we tag team to honor some amazing people that's in the community, and that's in the special needs community, and that's doing amazing things. And so when Chanté name was the first one on the paper, and so when I was telling the board that we was doing this, she was like, "Oh, okay, like this is awesome." And then I was like, "Yeah, this is awesome," but I had to keep a lot of stuff from the board because some of the people that was being honored is on the board. So it was quite interesting. But I can't wait until the next one. I'm excited because I got to meet with the board. But the way I want to do the second one is going to be amazing. Um, but thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
I can't wait to see all the things that you do for 2023. You'll always be a guest on our show. So whenever you have anything going on, please reach out, fill out the form, and we'll have you on again.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
can you share with the audience how they can reach you, contact you via social media, website, or however it may be?
Yeah, you can follow my Facebook page, The Adventures of Echoboy and ABC Girl. I'm on Instagram, Echoboy and ABC Girl. That's my business page. And I'm on Twitter, Levi's Mom 82. So those are the best ways you can follow what's going on and get in touch with me.
And then how can they purchase the books?
And all of the books are available on Amazon.
Awesome, awesome. Me and you got to connect though, because me and you did a book signing together. We got to do another one. Well, we did the book event together at Barnes and Noble, so we got to do another
Yeah, we
one.
do. We definitely
Yeah,
do because
that
COVID
was
definitely
fun.
messed up everything.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun because we did it right before the pandemic happened.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll link up. We definitely will. But thank you for coming on to the show. Again, to all our listeners, we appreciate you. I've been looking at the analytics, and we're out there in the United States as well as afar. And so however God may lead us, please share this if you know a family who has a child in the special needs community who needs, that uplift and who needs the resources, whether they're in Philadelphia or not. Please share the podcast and let them know that we're out here advocating for them. and for our children. So, without further ado, peace and blessings. Until next time, have a great day.